Hi, and welcome to episode 29 of the Noble Character Crafts podcast. My name is Amy, and you can find me online on Instagram and Etsy at Noble Character Crafts. You can find me on Ravelry at Noble Character, and I also have a group for this podcast on Ravelry under Noble Character Crafts podcast. In that group, you'll be able to find the show notes for this episode and all previous episodes, as well as several other chatter threads, so I would love it if you would join us over there. You can also get in contact with me through my email, which is noblecharactercrafts@yahoo.com. I also have links to all of the places that you can find me in the down bar. I am coming to you from eastern Nebraska, where I live on a farm with my husband and our 5 children. Today is Friday, June 15th, 2018, and this is a podcast all about my life as a knitter, a crocheter, and a hand dyer of yarn. Thank you so much for joining me today. A huge welcome to any new or returning viewers. I really appreciate you taking the time to join me today, and I hope that you enjoy this episode. I am hosting a knit along right now, which is running until the end of July, and that is a brioche knit along for any project that you would like to make that includes brioche, whether it be 1 or 2 color brioche in the round or flat, anything that, even if it has a small section of brioche, as long as there's a portion of brioche in your project, it is eligible to enter it into this knit along, and whips are allowed, so please feel free to enter any of your projects in there, and I would love to have you join us. There is a chatter thread and a finished object thread in the Ravelry group for that knit along, so I would love it if you would join us. I have a finished object today, which I am so excited to share with you. I was able to finish my summer Bly cardigan, which I am wearing, and this is a pattern by Amy Christoffers. It's a free pattern, and I did modify it quite a bit from what was written, but I did follow, her general guideline for stitches, especially when starting it. So this was knit from the top down. It's a seamless garment, which is so nice. It's my favorite type of construction that I have made so far anyway. I used 100% cotton for this project. I used peaches and cream in various colors, as you can see here. So this is all worsted weight, very inexpensive yarn that I just picked up from Walmart, and I had in my stash for several years, and I wanted to use it up. I had originally purchased this yarn, I think with the idea of making dishcloths with them, and I still have some of the yarn left over, and I probably will try to make some. I have some ideas of what I want to use it for along the dishcloth line, but I don't generally like worsted weight dishcloths. I just find that they're a little bit too thick for my taste, so I hadn't been using up the yarn as much as I thought I would when I originally purchased it. So anyway, I wanted to use it up and was motivated by a few of the summer garment knit-alongs that are being hosted. One of them is the Little Big Knits Summer Fibers Cal, and that is hosted by Selma of the Little Big Knits podcast, and that is for any garment that you, or any item, it doesn't have to be a garment, that you make with at least 45% of plant-based fibers. And then also, I will be able to enter this into the Summer Garment Mal for 2018 that Joanna of Stitching the High Notes is hosting. So anyway, those knit-alongs kind of motivated me to try to use up my cotton yarn, and I just got the idea to make a garment using primarily this salt and pepper colorway that I had in a huge cone. So it was 400 grams that I had of this salt and pepper colorway, and then I had several smaller skeins of these different colors. So I just had the idea to try to use up as much of this salt and pepper color as I could, and then to use up the other colors to stripe the garment. Anyway, and I just really am happy with how it turned out. So I did have a hard time getting gauge with this, and I did not end up getting gauge. My gauge is 17 stitches to 4 inches. I used size 4 needles, which are US 3.5 millimeter for the ribbing. And then for the main body, I use size US 5 needles, 3.75 millimeter. And I just adjusted, so I think since I was getting a looser gauge than what the pattern called for, I, just adjusted as I went along. I kept trying it on, and I didn't go down as far before I split for the sleeves as the pattern called for. And I did not include any body shaping either, which the pattern does call for, but I did not do that. So basically, I just followed the pattern for the top portion, and then I did follow the decreases for the sleeves, as she said, according to the stitch count that I had, which was adjusted because of my gauge. Anyway, I did put a few notes in my Ravelry page regarding the stitches and the adjustments that I made, so you can certainly check that out for more details, but I'll stand up so you can get a better idea of what it looks like. So I'm just so excited about it. I really love how the stripes came out. I don't know all of the colorways for all of these stripes, but when I went to Walmart, I looked at the cotton section and I was able to find all of these colors except for this lime green stripe, so maybe that is discontinued. But actually, I remembered that I picked up that lime green color at a thrift store, so it might not actually be peaches and cream, though it looks exactly like the other one, so I assume it is. But anyway, let's see, I just worked the body of the cardigan, and I kept measuring my salt and pepper yarn to make sure that I was going to have enough to make it all even. I did want to have enough to do all of the ribbing, but I ran out. As you can see, I did change the color of the neck band here because I only had 15 grams of the salt and pepper left over after I had finished all of the bottom hemming, or the bottom ribbing, and the cuffs on the arms. I only had 15 grams of the yarn left, and that wasn't going to be enough, I didn't think. I'm sure it wouldn't have been. I actually didn't measure how much of this coral color I used for the neckband, but I'm pretty confident that I would have run out. Anyway, let's see. I did 1x1 ribbing for the cuffs, which I don't remember if that's what the pattern called for or not, but I just prefer 1x1 ribbing. It's nice and oversized, which is what I wanted, and so I'm really happy with that. There's plenty of ease in here. And then I wanted to, originally, the pattern calls for a button band, but I had decided that I didn't want to put a button band on it, but then after I had it all done, I really wanted to be able to gather it up. And so I decided to put in a zipper, which I'm super excited about. So I just measured from the bottom hem up to this point where it comes together, and that was about 20 inches. And so I went online to see if I could find a zipper that would match that. And at first I was just looking at zippers and looking for 20 inches, and I kind of wanted to try to match this coral color, which I knew would be really difficult. But I actually did end up getting 2 zippers. I did get this color, which matched pretty, it wasn't terrible. It was along, it kind of coordinated. But I also ended up ordering just a white one because I wasn't sure if this one would match or not. And I ended up, anyway, when I first was looking at zippers, I was just looking at regular zippers, I guess, and I hadn't thought about the fact that I wanted it to be a separating zipper. So that was, because it was just going to be connected at the bottom, which of course is not what I wanted. So it was important for me to realize I needed to find a separating zipper, which is not, that was a new term for me. I didn't know that's what we called jacket zippers, was separating zippers, but of course that makes sense. And anyway, so I was able to find these zippers. I bought both of these from the same shop on eBay. Here's my notes, sorry. It is from an eBay store called G Store LA, and they have several zipper options available in various sizes and colors. This peach colored one is actually it actually unzips from both ends. So, you know, it zips from the top and then it also unzips from the bottom, which I had considered using. I thought it might be a nice option maybe if I just wanted to have it zipped at the top and open at the bottom, but I really didn't think I was going to wear it that well or that often that way. And then also this one was just a little bit harder to zip. When I took it apart, it was harder to put it back together. It wasn't zipping as easily. Even now I can't really get it apart very well. So anyway, oh, there it went apart. But anyway, it's just a little bit harder. This white one zipped more easily. And then I thought that the color of the white, you know, went along with I thought it just blended better. So that's why I decided to go with this one. And it's just a regular zip that, you know, is like a regular jacket zipper. And I just hand sewed it in because I am not confident in installing zippers using a sewing machine. And I just thought that would be easier. So it's probably not perfectly sewn in, but I did the best I could and I'm happy with it. So anyway, like I said, I did want to use the white or the salt and pepper for this neckband as well, but I'm really glad that I did use this coral color. There were a few of the different colors that I had enough of. I had either one of these blue colors, I had the pink, and I think that was maybe the yellow too. But anyway, I just thought that it would be, I liked the coral color too. I don't know, I just preferred the coral color for my coloring. I just thought it went well and it was a nice pop of color in the end. So I'm happy with how it turned out in the end. And yeah, I'm hoping to be able to use this on cooler nights, or as I said before, when if I go swimming and I want to have a cover up when I get out of the pool, this might come in handy for that. So I'm hoping that I will get some use out of it. I also, when I was all done, I had quite a few ends to weave in, as you can imagine. And I did weave them in on the body of the garment. But when I came to the sleeves, I decided nobody's gonna ever see that. So I just tied knots and cut a little bit of a tail for all of the tails on the inside of the sleeve. So it was kind of a cheat, but I thought maybe I would feel those knots and it would bother me, but I don't feel them at all. And yeah, so I'm really happy that I did that. It was a lot easier, and at that point, you know, I was at the end of making this garment, and you know how it is when you get to the end of a project like that, you're just like, I just want to be done with this. I don't want to take the time to weave in all these ends. So that was a simple solution to that. So I'm super happy to have this done. This is the third garment that I've made this year. So that's really exciting. And yeah, I'm really pleased with it. So anyway, that is my finished object for this week. Okay, on to works in progress. My first work in progress is in my beautiful project bag from Tanny Casey, and it is adorned with these adorable enamel pins from Nice and Knit. I love those so much. And this is my project for the Brioche Knit Along. This is the Brioche Ponchology, which is a pattern by Suzanne Summer, also known as Sosu Knits on Instagram, and probably Ravelry too, or maybe not. Well, anyway, Suzanne Summer is the designer, and she has several gorgeous brioche patterns. I actually have this inside out right now because I took a photograph of it yesterday and posted it, or maybe a couple days ago, and posted it on Instagram. And I am really loving that even the underside, or the wrong side, not that there really is a wrong side to brioche, but I'm really loving the opposite, you know, the wrong side, technically the wrong side of this project. I am using all of my own hand-dyed yarn, and there are several scraps that I'm using up from previous projects. And then there are a few full skeins that I'm using as well, but so let's see, last time I showed this to you, I was right at the beginning of this lighter purple section where this Progress Keeper, that's from Amy of Little Tailoress, and she had changed her name to Dandelion Dogwood and still has that name for her yarn, but has, I think, decided to go back to Little Tayloresque for Instagram and maybe YouTube as well. So anyway, this is showing where I was last time I showed this to you. So I was able to get, you know, there's quite a few stitches on here now, over 300 for sure. I think I'm, well, when I'm done with this, okay, I'm at 348 stitches right now. So it does take a while to get across because, of course, with brioche, you're working, you know, you have to work each row twice, basically. Of course, there is some new techniques for doing one pass brioche, but I have not tried to, I haven't looked into that yet. So I am just doing what I know for this, and I am doing the regular brioche where you only do one color per row. So anyway, so it does take me a while to make any progress on this, but I have gotten a little bit of work done on it, and I am just loving it so much. I am onto the bottom section, which has some chevrons on it. Let me see if I can show you a picture because you can't really see it in my work yet. Here is a picture of the bottom section, and you can see the chevrons in that. So that's what I'm working on right now, and there is a chevron patterned row every 4 rows, I think, and that's pretty intense to follow that row. I mean, I really have to concentrate on that row, but then after that, the next 3 rows are easy. But anyway, it is a little bit slower now as I'm doing those chevron sections as well, plus the increased stitches and everything. So this is all worsted weight. I am using both of my worsted weight bases. So part of the yarn is on my Lenora base, which is 100% superwash merino, and part of the yarn is on my Caring base, which is 100% non-superwash merino. So there's, like I said, I'm using various scraps. So I won't go through all of the colors, but right now I am using these two. And this one is on my Caring base, the non-superwash, and this is my Deep Waters colorway. And this is on my Lenora base, the superwash, and this is my Friend colorway. So I am not following the pattern as far as the color changes go. I am just using, I have sorted my yarn into dark solids and lighter speckled yarns, and am just using them up, and whenever I run out, I do a Russian join with my yarn and just continue working in the pattern. The pattern calls for you to use several sections of only one color, and I am not doing that either. I am doing 2-color brioche through all of it. So I'm really, really loving this. I'm super excited to see it all done. You know, I have it all bunched up on this, you know, circular needle now, and so I can't really get an idea of how it's going to be when it's completed, but I'm so excited to be able to work on this some more, and I'm nearing the end. I don't have, well, I don't know how many rows left, but not too terribly many rows left. I am, so the gauge for this, I did, I hadn't, before I started this, I hadn't taken gauge, but since I recorded last, I did count my gauge, which I didn't actually know that you could do when doing brioche, but you can, and I did get gauge. It's 16 stitches for 4 centimeters. So I am getting gauge using the recommended needle size, which is size 8, 5 millimeter, and I use all Chaogu red lace needles. So yeah, super excited about this project. I'm really loving it, and I think I'll be able to get a lot of use out of this once fall and winter comes, because I always get chilly around, especially around my neck, and I just think, I'm hoping that I'll get a lot of use out of this, even around the house, just to stay cozy in the cooler weather. So my next 2 works in progress are both new cast on since I recorded last. This project is in a project bag by My Creative Frenzy. Isn't that cute? Little Red Riding Hood themed. And this is a pair of socks for my youngest child, who is a 4-year-old boy. And he has asked me for socks. I haven't made him, I actually have not knit him anything before. I have only been knitting for about a year and a half almost. So I have crocheted him things, but I have never knit him anything yet. So he's due to have a hand knit object. I think, yeah, I have hand knit something for all of my other children. And so anyway, it was definitely his turn. So I am doing a simple pair of ribbed socks for him. He's pretty small for his age. I cast on 48 stitches and I'm just doing a 3x1 ribbing. And I'm planning to just make these into tube socks. I have made a pair of socks for my boys, my oldest boys, who are 8 and 9, and they wear the same size, so they share those socks. And then I've also made a pair of socks for my 7-year-old daughter. And I have made those all with a heel. I haven't done a tube sock before, but it's pretty tricky to get the fit right. Both of those socks aren't perfect. They end up sliding down and they end up walking on the leg of the sock. So I'm always saying, pull up your sock. So give me some tips if you know. Is that because they're too loose? Is it because the foot of the sock is not long enough? What's the problem? Why is that the socks slide down and they end up walking on the leg? I would really like to know that because I haven't quite figured that out. But anyway, I have heard that tube socks work well for young children. So I think that they may wear a little bit better, perhaps, because you can wear them on both sides. You won't always be walking on the bottom side because you could flip them over and the top could be the bottom and so forth. So anyway, I'm hoping that these will be a success in the end and he'll be able to use them a lot and be able to wear them even as his feet get longer. I am using Patton's Croy Socks yarn in the gray brown marl colorway. This is 75% washable wool and 25% nylon. And I am going against my type A personality and making these unmatching, although they're just off. But actually, I didn't know this before I cast these on, but actually both these yarns are not from the same dye lot. And I couldn't really tell until I got to this red section. And you can see that this red is a bit more pink than this one. There's even more white speckled in this red and even in this gray. Now that I've worked it, I'm like, oh yeah, I can even see it's a little off on that bluish gray color as well. So I was thinking of trying to even them out because that was driving me a little crazy. But now that I've noticed that the dye lots are even off, I'm like, forget it. They're just going to be kind of mismatchy, so that's fine. They're just little boy socks, so it's no big deal. I really love this wool though. It is so sturdy, and it even though it's a washable wool, it really still has that woolly smell that you don't usually get with superwash yarn. These are my only vanilla knitting project that I have, so I actually cast these on Saturday because that was our small town's summer parade festival day. And so we were going to be at the parade all day, and I wanted to have something that I could work on that would be mindless while I was at the parade. So I cast these on while I was at the parade, and then later that night we went to a tractor pull. Not my favorite thing. So I knew I wasn't going to be watching the tractor pull, but I was sitting there and I wanted something to knit on. So anyway, these were the perfect project because they were super mindless and are working up really nicely. I'm enjoying working on these a lot. Oh, I am using size 1 2.25 millimeter needles, and I am getting 9 stitches to the inch for my gauge, which is, I really like that gauge for socks. So I'm getting hot. I had to take off that cardigan. Okay, my last work in progress is in another project bag from Tanai Casey, and I love this fabric so much. It is a Rifle Paper Company fabric. And I am working on a test knit for Amy Self-Lindland of Amy's Little Kingdom. She has a podcast and some designs. And she has come out with this new design, which is called Hannah's Summer Braid. And I asked if I could test knit it, and she said I could, so I'm so excited about this. Oh, I'm loving it so much. I just love this design. It's so beautiful. So as you can see, this is worked seamlessly in the round from the top down. It is in DK weight yarn. I am using my own hand-dyed yarn on my Josephine base, which is DK weight, 75% superwash merino, 25% nylon in my enriched colorway, which if you have watched previously, you will have seen this colorway before. I included it in my doodler shawl. I have made a pair of socks using this colorway, and I think maybe that's it, but it's just obviously one of my favorite colorways since I've used it so much. So the gauge for this pattern is 22 stitches to 4 inches. The recommended needle size is a US 6, which is 4 millimeter, and I did not get gauge with that. I only had 20 stitches, so I went down to a 4, which is 3.5 millimeter, and then I had 24 stitches to 4 inches. So I did not gauge with the US 5, which is 3.75 millimeter, but that's what I am using, because of course I needed 22, I got 24, then I got 20, so what else could I do but use a 5, and I didn't think I needed to swatch. So anyway, that is working up very well. I love how she has included the neck ribbing right from the get-go, so you don't have to go back and pick up those neck stitches, which I hate doing. It's just already there. So I wonder why more people don't do that, because it worked so well in this pattern. I just absolutely love that. And I really like the shape of this squared neckline. There is this beautiful cable running down the front and also the back. There are some short rows on the back here to heighten the back of that along the neck, which is so nice as well. And then there's also this beautiful cable along the sleeves. So I am just loving this so much. It's such an enjoyable knit. With the DK weight, it's working up really quickly. So I'm loving that. I am alternating skeins. So I have used up almost 2 skeins. Well, I used up 1 full skein. I'm almost done with this one, and I've started the 3rd skein. So anyway, it's working up so well. I didn't alternate skeins for the neckband, so that's why, I have a little bit left over of this second one. Anyway, I am so thrilled that I was able to fix a mistake that I had. So I was working, I hadn't separated for the sleeves yet. I was still working up here, and I noticed that on this sleeve cable, I had messed up the cable quite a ways back. And I had basically done this, the right side of the cable 3 times in a row instead of, doing the right side, then the left side, then the right side again. So anyway, I was like, oh no, what am I gonna do? I was thinking I was gonna have to rip it all back to where I had made the mistake. But I went onto YouTube, trusty old YouTube, that you can find anything you need, and I just looked up how to fix how to drop my stitches so that I can fix a cable. That's what I looked up. And I was able to find a tutorial put out by Brioche yarn, and it's titled How to Drop Stitches to Fix a Cable. And it was a beautiful tutorial, and it walked me through exactly how to do it. I had to go back 11 rows to fix it, but you can't see it. I did a really good job, I think. I'm so pleased with it. It was right here, and you really can't tell. I mean, I can kind of tell that the stitches are a little bit pulled right there more than the other ones, but I don't think in the grand scheme of things you're going to be able to tell, especially once it's blocked. And I was just so thrilled that I didn't have to rip all of that out. So basically what you do is you just isolate the cable you put the other stitches, you leave the other stitches on the cable or on the needles, and then you just drop down to where your mistake is, and then you use DPNs to do the cable correctly. And anyway, just go check out that tutorial if you ever have problems with the cable. It was really so easy. I thought it was going to be impossible, but it wasn't. So grateful that I was able to fix that without a huge frogging session. So anyway, I have been able to try this on, and I'm really liking the fit of it so far. So yeah, I just love it so much. This pattern is gorgeous. I just love that cable. It's stunning. Oh, and this is all, as you can see, the body of the garment is done in garter stitch, and so you do knit one row and then purl one row in order to get the garter stitch. And she says in her instructions that if some people just despise purling, and so once you split for the sleeves, you can start working back and forth in flat pieces for the front and the back. If you did just want to eliminate the purling. I don't mind purling at all. In fact, I'm a little bit faster at purling than I am at knitting, surprisingly. So it doesn't bother me at all. So anyway, it's going well, and I'm really enjoying it. So I am really trying to work monogamously on this. I think that's what I will be doing until it is done. I think I'll just be working on this monogamously unless, I'm traveling. I might take that pair of socks with me. But hopefully I'll be able to get this done pretty quickly, because she is asking that the test knit be done by the end of the month. So I'm hoping to work on this exclusively until it is finished. So hopefully I will make a lot of progress on that. Okay, the last thing I have to show you is a shawl set. So every time I podcast, I try to show a set of at least 3 skeins of yarn that I think coordinate well to work for a shawl, or just to give you an idea of what types of colorways I have available in my shop. I should count how many colorways I have available in my shop, but I think it's over 50 for sure. And I just always have all of my colorways available on all 9 of my bases, and those range from fingering to worsted weight and everything in between. So I just always have all of my colorways available on all of my bases. So every time I podcast, I just try to give you an idea of a few colorways, because I don't do regular shop updates. Like I said, I just always have everything available at all times. So anyway, this is my set of 3 colorways for this week. And this is a newer colorway. I did show you this last time I recorded a podcast, because it was part of my rainbow shawl set that I listed recently, and this is called Dew on the Grass. So it really does match the new spring grass that we had. Now, as the summer lengthens, the grass gets a little darker, it seems, but when the grass first sprouted, or the leaves on the trees first sprouted, they really match this very well. So it's just a nice yellowish green tonal. And then this colorway is called Springs of Life. And I really love this colorway. I haven't knit it up yet, which I really, really want to. But it has lots and lots of blues and greens in it, as well as some rusty speckles. So I really love that colorway. And this last tonal is a light gray, and this is called Choice Silver. And it's just a real light gray tonal. So I thought these 3 went well together. And yeah, like I said, I just like to give you all an idea of different colorways that work well together from my shop. If you would want to check out my Etsy shop, I would truly appreciate it. You can find it at noblecharactercrafts.etsy.com. So thank you so much for anybody that wants to check that out. I really appreciate it. So we have been doing very well. We aren't technically into summer yet, but it sure feels like it. We have enjoyed swimming a little bit and playing outside, and we have a little pool, so our kids have enjoyed that. The lightning bugs are out. The mulberry trees have their mulberries on them, so the kids, we have quite a few wild mulberries that grow to the north of our property. And so the kids like discovering those and eating them. They're quite tasty. And so anyway, we've spent a lot of time outdoors getting muddy and dirty and tan and well, not me so much, but the kids are getting tan. And anyway, we're just having a great summer. I do homeschool our 5 children, and we have continued to do homeschooling, though I have eased up a little bit more than normal lately, just because it is so nice to be able to get out and explore outside a little bit more than we can in the winter. So we haven't been quite as hardcore as we usually are. Not that I usually am very hardcore. I try to keep it pretty relaxed for our homeschooling. But anyway, I have let up a little bit on all of the schoolwork that we do. So anyway, we have been doing very well. Like I said, we got to go to the parade this last weekend, and that was so much fun. The kids really enjoy that. That is one of the highlights of our summer. And let's see, Father's Day is coming up this weekend. I don't actually think that we have major plans. We'll probably go out to eat. But my husband's father is no longer with us, and my father lives quite a ways away. So we won't be actually visiting with anybody outside of, our immediate family. So it'll just be a time to celebrate my husband. So I'm sure we'll enjoy that day together. So anyway, I think that is all I have for today. I really appreciate you all joining me. So much for joining me today. I hope you all have a great week. Bye-bye.